Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Rick Ripley. Thanks very much for tuning in today. It's a beautiful spring day. Sky is blue. The trees are blooming. I have my fly rod right here in my hand. Perfect calm conditions for the fly rod. Now, great thing about fly fishing in the springtime in New England is the surge of bugs and insects that happen all at once. So the fish get real turned on to that. Well, today's show, we're going to do a little fly fishing. We're going to talk about trout. We're going to talk about where trout come from, how they're raised here in this great state. And if we're lucky, I might catch one or two. So thanks so much for tuning in. Let's get fishing. Fish on, buddy. A nice little brown trout. There he is. Little guy. Whoa. Come here, buddy. Fish on. Oh, it's a pretty rainbow. Pretty rainbow trout. That pretty little stripe. One of my favorite things to do is fly fish for trout. Like this little rainbow right here. There he goes. Here in New England, there are thousands of places that you can go to catch trout. And there are many different species of trout. Many of the trout are stocked by the state of Massachusetts. Other places have trout that grow naturally, reproducing in the wild without the help of humans. I thought it'd be a good idea to show you one of the hatcheries in our great state. Let's go take a look down the Cape at the Sandwich Fish Hatchery, and let's watch how a fish is raised from a little egg all the way to a 3-pound monster ready to be released in a pond near you. Let's go check it out. So right now, what's going on is they're filling with well water into this into the tank of the truck, and there are different compartments in the truck.
Yep. There's 4 compartments. Each compartment holds about 250 gallons of water. Each compartment has a separate aeration device and also separate devices for injecting a set amount of oxygen to each tank to supply supplemental oxygen for the fish.
Now the reason why you have separate compartments is so you can put different size fish into each compartment and bring them to certain ponds, different ponds?
That's right, different size fish or different species of fish.
Different species also?
Yep, depending on what the plan is for each pond that's being stocked.
Excellent. And it's about 50 degrees right from the well.
That's right.
Nice and cold for those trout.
And it'll stay that way given the insulation on the tanks.
Well, now when it's 50 degrees here, what's the current temperature pretty much now when they get dropped off at the lakes? Is it somewhere right around there? Right around 50?
It's almost the magic. Yeah.
So no shock at all to the fish. It's just what they used to.
No.
Awesome. Okay, I'm here with Ken Simons, and Ken, you're the chief of all the hatcheries in the state of Massachusetts.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Now, Tell me a little bit about that and what your responsibilities are.
My job is to administer the hatcheries, to set our production goals. We actually have a fairly fixed production goal in our trout hatchery program. Our goal is to grow between 400 and 450,000 pounds of trout a year. Today we talked about numbers of trout, but you saw us when we were putting them on the truck.
Right.
We convert weight into numbers, so we actually in hatcheries deal in biomass, which is pounds.
Okay. Yeah. How long has the Sandwich Hatchery been around?
Since 1912. I believe it was originally a private facility, and the state took it over in about 1912. And we also had 3 other facilities that we put online that we currently still operate: our Sunderland Hatchery, our Montague Hatchery, also called the Bitzer Hatchery, and our Palmer Hatchery, which is a Atlantic Salmon Restoration Hatchery. Were all put online between 1912 and 1917. Okay,
so you mentioned Atlantic Salmon Hatchery. So tell me a little bit about that, about the Atlantic salmon that.
Well, we have an Atlantic Salmon Restoration Program, which is a cooperative program among New England states to restore Atlantic salmon to the Connecticut River and also the Merrimack River. But
I'm familiar with that river. Yep.
But the Palmer Hatchery deals specifically with the Connecticut River.
Okay.
And what we do there is we're a broodstock station that we take the first generation Atlantic salmon, produce eggs from those, which then are subsequently stocked out into the Connecticut River drainage. We release about 1 million fry a year, produce about 1.5 million eggs a year for that program.
Fantastic. And how's that going so far?
Well, it's we have returning fish. The numbers are anywhere from 100 to a couple hundred returning adults a year to the program.
Okay, so it must be an ongoing challenge, to keep these beautiful fish growing in their native waters, with all the development that we see around us and everything, with both the trout and the salmon.
Right. Well, that's where hatcheries play a role. We have third most densely populated state in the country is Massachusetts, and those citizens put a lot of pressure on our lakes and ponds and our rivers. So our hatchery program is a renewable resource that gives us an opportunity to restock and bring fishing to people, and also take the pressure off our native stocks of fish and create a recreational opportunity for people that otherwise wouldn't be there.
So Ken, tell me what's in this. Tell me about this variable frequency drive that's in the shed here.
Well, this is our #1 pump station, and what we have is what's called a variable frequency drive, which is a computer-driven drive that actually electronically controls the pump and the motor system that pumps the water out of the ground and into the raceways. The old days we used to control it with a mechanical valve, and that would actually add back pressure and actually use more electricity to pump less water.
Okay.
Whereas now with the new computer drive, we can actually set the drive with the computer, and that'll actually control the speed of the motor, which will then pump the water more efficiently and use less electricity. We had these installed through a cooperative program with Cape Cod Light Compact. They actually supplied the drive, supplied the new premium efficiency motor in order to contribute to electrical conservation here on the Cape.
So nice. So it's a good example of a cooperative effort between the electric company and yourselves.
Absolutely.
Being good customers here, and everything works out perfect.
Okay, how we adjust the, how many hertz go in, we have a little switch here. And what I'm doing here, you can see the top moving. So I'm increasing, which will increase the flow of the water. And I'll bring that back down to where it was set at 57.50. That way we're not overdrawing a well. But that's all set up. So that's how many hertz I'm putting in here, and that will control how much water I'm pumping. Okay, this motor right here turns this shaft that's down in the ground about, it's attached to a pump, which is down the ground about 55 feet. So when this turns this, and the water, it makes the water come up through and then out.